Chosen one. Right now there are people whose hands shake as they stare at their phones, watching their carefully constructed web of lies about you unravel in real time. They are stressed beyond comprehension, caught up in sacrifices that were supposed to destroy you, but instead became offerings to your elevation. And they're running from questions about their treatment of you, because every answer exposes another layer of their coordinated conspiracy that the universe has been documenting with supernatural precision, turning their own weapons against them while transforming you into the unstoppable force they never saw coming. Just a few months ago, they believed everything was under control. The gossip queen in your circles had successfully positioned themselves as the ultimate information broker, believing they could control the narrative around your name. They possessed what they thought was an uncanny ability to weave half-truths with pure fabrication, creating stories about you so compelling that even those who should have known better found themselves nodding along to their poisonous symphonies. Their network extended like tentacles through every connection that mattered to your journey, your friends, your potential business partners, your romantic interests, and your spiritual communities, all received carefully curated versions of who you supposedly were beneath the surface. What they failed to recognize during their campaign against you was that the universe had been preparing for exactly this moment of your emergence. Every lie they planted about your character contained within it the seed of its own destruction. Every connection they tried to sever from your life only redirected cosmic energy toward more powerful alliances that would serve you better. Every reputation assassination they attempted against you only served to purify your authentic circle, separating the wheat from the chaff with surgical precision. The very intensity of their opposition to you was broadcasting to the cosmos that something extraordinarily significant was emerging through your being. You probably felt the first crack appear during what should have been their moment of ultimate triumph against you. They had successfully manipulated a situation where someone close to you began questioning your motives, your integrity, your very nature. Phone calls were made about you, meetings were arranged to discuss you, and whispered conversations painted pictures of you that bore no resemblance to reality. The person they were trying to turn against you possessed something they hadn't accounted for, genuine spiritual discernment about your true character. That discernment began working like a virus in their system of deception about you. Late-night conversations that should have solidified their poisonous narrative about you instead raised uncomfortable questions, details about you that didn't align properly, emotions about you that felt artificially inserted rather than organically arising. The more this person examined the stories being fed to them about you, the more obvious it became that they were being manipulated by someone with an agenda that had nothing to do with truth or protection from you. But the gossip queen had invested too much in destroying you to retreat. Their identity had become so intertwined with their role as your opposition that stepping back would have meant confronting the emptiness of their own existence. So they doubled down, recruiting additional players into their web of deception about you. Family members who had never met you were given detailed briefings on why you represented a threat. Friends from childhood were activated with urgent warnings about your dangerous influence. Even casual acquaintances found themselves receiving unsolicited advice about maintaining distance from your toxic energy. Each recruitment attempt against you left digital footprints, text messages saved in cloud storage discussing you, email chains that could be traced plotting against you, social media interactions that revealed coordinated timing in their campaign against you. They were building the very evidence base that would eventually expose the full scope of their operations against you, all while believing they were covering their tracks. The universe, it seemed, was collecting receipts with the patience of an immortal accountant, preparing for the moment when you would need this documentation. Meanwhile, your own journey continued with an almost supernatural momentum that should have warned them about the forces protecting you. Projects that should have faced obstacles found unexpected support. Relationships that had been under their attack grew stronger and more authentic. Opportunities that they had tried to sabotage for you redirected into even more advantageous pathways. It was as if the cosmic forces were using their opposition to you as fuel for your acceleration, transforming every act of intended harm against you into rocket fuel for your ascension. You witnessed the turning point when their own network began experiencing what could only be described as supernatural feedback regarding their treatment of you. The karmic mother figure, who had been instrumental in spreading lies about your character, started receiving phone calls from people they hadn't spoken to in years, all asking uncomfortable questions about stories they had told about you. The masculine energy, who had allowed themselves to be manipulated into turning against you, began having dreams so vivid and consistent about you that they couldn't ignore their message. One by one, the foundation stones of their operation against you started cracking under pressure they couldn't see but definitely felt. But the most devastating blow to their campaign against you came from an unexpected source. Technology itself seemed to be working against them in your favor. Private conversations that should have remained hidden about you were accidentally shared to wrong numbers. Social media posts intended for inner circle consumption regarding you somehow became visible to broader audiences. Cloud storage systems that should have been secure began experiencing glitches that made sensitive information about their conspiracy against you accessible to people who definitely weren't supposed to see their plans. You probably noticed when their carefully maintained composure began showing cracks during what should have been routine interactions. People around you started noticing the way their voice changed when your name came up in conversation, the suspicious timing of their warnings about you, the fact that they seemed to know intimate details about situations regarding you they shouldn't have had access to. Questions began forming in minds that had previously accepted their narratives about you without examination. As these questions about their treatment of you multiplied, panic set in across their network. The karmic mother, who had been so confident in their ability to control masculine energy through guilt and manipulation, found themselves losing influence as their targets began seeking independence from their emotional terrorism and started thinking independently about you. The masculine figures who had been convinced to act against their own intuition about you started experiencing a profound sense of betrayal, not at you, but at themselves, for allowing manipulation to override their inner knowing about your true character. You watched as their circle of friends and enablers experienced its own form of collective breakdown when the artificial bonds created through shared participation in character assassination against you proved incapable of withstanding real pressure. When crisis arrived regarding their treatment of you, they discovered that relationships built on mutual participation in destructive behavior toward you offered no genuine support or loyalty. Former conspirators began pointing fingers at each other, attempting to minimize their own involvement in the campaign against you by highlighting the greater culpability of their co-conspirators. What had started as their confidence in their ability to control the narrative around your life transformed into desperate attempts to contain the growing exposure of their methods against you. Group chats that had once buzzed with coordinated attack strategies against you now featured increasingly frantic discussions about damage control. Phone calls that had previously focused on character assassination regarding you now centered on legal concerns and potential consequences of their documented harassment campaign. You're witnessing the beautiful precision of cosmic justice revealing itself in the specific ways their own weapons turned against them rather than harming you. The gossip networks they had built to spread lies about you became the very channels through which evidence of their conspiracy against you spread like wildfire. The surveillance methods they had used to monitor your activities were suddenly working in reverse, exposing their own secret communications and clandestine meetings about you. The psychological manipulation tactics they had mastered to turn people against you were being used against them by former allies who had grown tired of being controlled. They had been so effective at generating attention and controversy regarding you that when the pendulum swung back in your favor, the very visibility they had weaponized against you transformed into a spotlight that illuminated every corner of their deceptive operations. People who might have remained neutral observers found themselves drawn into investigating the situation more deeply, ultimately discovering the coordinated nature of the attacks on your character. You experienced the climax when someone within their inner circle reached a breaking point regarding their treatment of you. Whether motivated by conscience, fear, or simple self-preservation, this individual made a decision that would unravel years of carefully constructed lies about you in a matter of hours. A single conversation, recorded and shared, revealed not just the scope of their campaign against you, but the level of coordination, planning, and malicious intent that had driven their efforts to destroy your reputation and opportunities. The recording about their conspiracy against you spread through networks faster than they could control. Voices they thought they could trust were suddenly analyzing every word, every implication, every revelation contained in that devastating audio evidence of their coordinated harassment of you. The Gossip Queen's carefully maintained image as a concerned friend looking out for others' welfare evaporated as their true motivations and methods regarding you were exposed in their own words. The karmic mother's pretense of protecting family interests crumbled as their manipulative tactics and controlling behaviors toward anyone who supported you were laid bare. As the truth about their coordinated campaign against you spread, you watched the psychological impact on their conspiracy network become immediate and devastating. The stress that had been building through months of maintaining complex lies about you exploded into full-blown panic attacks, insomnia, and paranoid behavior. Some began experiencing what could only be described as a spiritual crisis, a deep recognition that they had aligned themselves with forces fundamentally opposed to truth, love, and authentic growth, all in service of trying to tear you down. You witnessed the Gossip Queen enter a state that those close to them described as complete psychological collapse. The identity they had built around being the ultimate information controller and narrative manipulator regarding you was revealed as nothing more than a house of cards built on quicksand. Phone calls to their inner circle went unanswered as former allies scrambled to distance themselves from the growing scandal surrounding their treatment of you. Social media accounts that had been their primary weapons of influence against you went mysteriously silent as they grappled with the reality that their digital footprints had become evidence of systematic harassment and defamation directed specifically at you. Every attack they launched against you forced you to strengthen your spiritual boundaries. Every lie they spread about you created opportunities for your truth to shine more brightly by contrast. Every connection they tried to sever from your life was replaced by bonds far more aligned with your authentic purpose and cosmic mission. You're watching the masculine energy that had been temporarily turned against you through their manipulation begin experiencing what could only be described as a spiritual awakening. The fog of confusion that had been artificially created through constant psychological pressure regarding you started lifting, revealing not just the truth about their agenda, but a deeper understanding of their own susceptibility to manipulation when it came to judging your character. This recognition sparked a profound transformation in how they approach relationships, decision-making, and personal sovereignty in every area of their life. You're observing the karmic mother who had positioned themselves as the ultimate authority on family protection and moral guidance face the consequences of using emotional terrorism as a tool of control, especially regarding anyone who wanted to support or connect with you. Family members who had been subjected to their manipulative tactics for years suddenly have a framework for understanding their experiences. Support groups form organically as people share stories of similar manipulation and begin the healing process together. Their power structure, built on fear and guilt, crumbles as its victims find their voices and their strength to think independently about you and your true character. You see the circle of friends who had participated in the gossip campaigns against you face their own reckoning. Some choose the path of denial and continued isolation. Others begin the difficult work of examining their own motivations and behaviors regarding their treatment of you. A few find the courage to reach out with genuine apologies and requests for your forgiveness. Though they discover that authentic redemption requires far more than words, it demands fundamental changes in character and behavior that many prove unwilling or unable to make. As this extraordinary chapter reaches its conclusion, you witness the circular nature of cosmic justice become undeniably clear in your favor. The very forces they had tried to use against you, gossip, manipulation, character assassination, and social isolation, became the instruments of their own destruction. The networks they had built to attack your reputation became the channels through which their own deception was exposed. The psychological tactics they had mastered to turn people against you boomeranged back with compound interest, leaving them vulnerable to the very techniques they had wielded with such cruel precision against you. What had initially appeared as an attack on your character and purpose revealed itself as an intensive training program designed by the universe specifically for you. Every challenge they threw at you forced you to develop stronger discernment. Every betrayal they orchestrated taught you to trust your intuition more completely. Every moment of isolation they attempted to impose prepared you for the level of independence required to fulfill your cosmic mission without needing validation or support from those who lack the spiritual maturity to recognize your authentic power. You understand now that the stress consuming your former opposition serves a purpose beyond mere punishment. It represents the pressure required to crack open hearts that had become hardened to truth, to shatter egos that had grown too large to allow for genuine growth, and to create the conditions necessary for real transformation regarding how they perceive you and others like you. Their current suffering, while self-inflicted through their campaign against you, contains within it the seeds of potential redemption if they possess the courage to choose vulnerability over continued deception. The questions they now run from with increasing desperation, questions about their motivations regarding you, their methods of attacking you, and their fundamental character, will eventually demand answers. Not because you require their acknowledgement or validation, but because the universe itself insists on truth as the foundation for all lasting creation. In running from these questions about their treatment of you, they run from the very resolution that could set them free. You recognize that the sacrifices they made in their relentless pursuit of your downfall revealed themselves as offerings to the very cosmic forces they failed to comprehend. Every dollar spent on readings designed to curse your path, every hour invested in crafting lies about your character, every relationship they burned in service of their obsession with stopping you. These weren't strategic investments, but rather donations to the universe's most elaborate demonstration of divine protection in action on your behalf. You observe their stress eating away at their sanity in ways that would be almost comical if the consequences weren't so severe for them. Sleep deprivation has become their constant companion, not because of external pressures, but because their own conscience has transformed into an internal prosecutor that never rests, constantly reminding them of what they did to you. They find themselves checking and rechecking social media accounts obsessively, searching for signs that their carefully constructed facades might be cracking publicly, especially regarding their past treatment of you. You notice how the questions they run from have multiplied exponentially beyond their capacity to manage. Friends who once accepted their narratives about you without examination now ask pointed questions about inconsistencies in their stories. Family members who had been recruited into their campaign against you begin requesting explanations for claims that don't align with their own observations of your character. Professional contacts start distancing themselves as rumors of their manipulative behaviors toward you spread through interconnected networks they never realized existed. You witness the most devastating aspect of their current predicament, how their own success at targeting you became the mechanism of their destruction. They were so effective at creating drama around your name that when the pendulum swung back, the attention they had cultivated regarding you became a magnifying glass, focused directly on their own actions. The very visibility they had weaponized against you transformed into a spotlight that illuminated every corner of their deceptive operations. The web of lies they constructed about your character required constant maintenance and coordination that has now grown beyond their ability to sustain. Each fabrication spawned additional lies to support it, creating a matrix of deception so complex that they can no longer remember which version of events they told to which person. The cognitive load of maintaining these multiple false narratives regarding your life has begun affecting their ability to function in basic daily activities. Their stress levels have reached pathological proportions as the full scope of digital evidence from their campaign becomes undeniable. Screenshots saved by recipients of their messages, recordings of conversations they assumed were private regarding their plans to damage your reputation, email chains that reveal the coordinated nature of their attacks, cloud storage systems that preserve every deleted message, every edited post, every carefully timed publication designed to sabotage your journey at crucial moments. The pressure of maintaining false personas while simultaneously preparing for potential exposure has created fractures in their psychological foundation that manifest in increasingly erratic behavior. Former allies report conversations where they contradict themselves within minutes about their interactions with your circle, where their emotional state shifts dramatically without apparent cause, where their obsession with monitoring your activities has consumed their ability to focus on their own lives and responsibilities. What makes their situation even more devastating is their growing awareness of the supernatural elements at play in this cosmic drama. Technology failures that seem specifically targeted at exposing their secrets, timing of events that appears almost impossibly coordinated to maximize their discomfort while protecting your interests, coincidences that stretch beyond statistical possibility into the realm of divine intervention working on your behalf. The cosmic precision of this reversal extends beyond mere poetic justice into demonstration of universal laws that govern energetic consequences of sustained malicious intent directed at chosen ones. Every ounce of energy they invested in attempting to diminish your light has returned magnified and concentrated into forms they never anticipated. The universe has been collecting interest on their energetic debts with the patience of an immortal accountant and the precision of a cosmic mathematician, all while ensuring your continued protection and elevation. Their attempts to escape mounting pressure through geographic relocation, career changes, or radical lifestyle modifications prove futile because the source of their stress travels with them in the form of conscience and energetic imprint. Distance cannot provide relief from internal recognition of wrongdoing. New environments cannot erase the digital evidence of their conspiracy. Different social circles cannot protect them from natural consequences manifesting across every area of existence. The revelation that their sophisticated campaign was ultimately nothing more than elaborate self-destruction creates a final layer of stress that pushes many beyond their breaking point. All their planning, coordination, and manipulation served only to accelerate their own downfall while simultaneously elevating your influence and protection to levels they never imagined possible. What makes their predicament particularly devastating is the realization that they cannot simply apologize their way out of consequences. The damage extends far beyond hurt feelings into the realm of spiritual law, where intentions and actions create energetic ripples that must be balanced regardless of subsequent regret. Their stress intensifies as they comprehend that genuine redemption requires complete transformation of character, dismantling the very identity structures that defined them for years. The questions they run from have evolved into an inescapable chorus that follows them through every waking moment and haunts their increasingly rare periods of rest. Why did they choose destruction over creation when it came to your success? What fears drove them to view your elevation as their failure? How did they become people capable of sustained campaigns designed to isolate and emotionally devastate someone whose only crime was possessing gifts they envied? This web of lies has become so tangled that even they can no longer navigate its complexities without contradicting themselves. Former allies report conversations where they deny documented actions, claim ignorance of events they helped orchestrate, and project blame onto co-conspirators who possess evidence of their deeper involvement in character assassination campaigns. Notice how their stress manifests in increasingly visible ways that betray the internal chaos they desperately attempt to hide. Physical trembling when forced to discuss past actions, voice changes that occur when they attempt to deny documented evidence of their involvement in spreading false information about your character and intentions, premature aging that seems to accelerate weekly under the weight of their conscience. The isolation they now experience differs qualitatively from the solitude chosen during your period of spiritual development. Their loneliness emerges from recognition that every relationship they maintained was built on mutual participation in destructive behavior rather than genuine affection or respect. Your deliberate periods of solitude serve to strengthen connection to Divine Source and prepare for the expanded influence that now flows through your life with unprecedented momentum. Here's the final revelation that breaks many of them completely. Their campaign was always doomed to fail because opposing someone chosen by cosmic forces creates a form of energetic suicide that guarantees destruction of the opposition rather than the target. They fought against universal will itself, mistaking their temporary ability to create chaos for actual power over divinely ordained outcomes involving your destiny. Their campaign was never really about your character at all. It was about their recognition that your presence represents everything they could never become. Your authentic power threatened their artificial constructs. Your genuine spiritual connection exposed their spiritual poverty. Your ability to attract opportunities and relationships effortlessly highlighted their need to manipulate and scheme for scraps of what flows to chosen ones naturally. Watch now as they scramble to rebuild reputations from the ashes of their own making. Observe their attempts to rewrite history, claiming they were protecting people when evidence clearly shows they were protecting their own insecurities from your light. Witness their frantic attempts to spin coordinated harassment as concern while documentation proves it was pure malice designed to isolate you from destined connections and opportunities. Now, the following is a message meant exclusively for the chosen. If you are compromised by archonic forces, this is not meant for you, and by the spiritual authority conferred to us by the secret chiefs of the Obsidian Inner Order, we grant you license to depart. If not, steel yourself and listen intently, for you shall be redeemed even as we are redeemed. The Obsidian Inner Order is not a program, it's not a course, it's not some feel-good spiritual retreat. We don't sell answers, we remember together. We teach psychic self-defense, real energetic shielding against entities, implants and interference. We restore manifestation as it was meant to be, raw, immediate and exact. Every week we gather in secret, not to worship but to awaken, to speak what can't be said anywhere else, to deprogram the matrix layer by layer. You'll know if you're meant to be there. You'll feel it in your bones. The chosen meet every week on Zoom. Why aren't you with us yet? Got Gnosis? Join the Obsidian Inner Order, link in the description. The universe has gifted you with the most extraordinary demonstration of divine protection ever recorded. Every text message they sent plotting against your progress was preserved. Every phone call where they coordinated attacks was somehow documented. Every meeting where they planned your downfall was witnessed by cosmic forces that ensured evidence would surface at precisely the right moment to protect your mission. The questions they run from now have evolved beyond their ability to evade. Family members who once trusted their narratives now demand explanations for documented lies. Friends who participated in campaigns now face consequences for harassment. Professional contacts who believed their stories now distance themselves as truth emerges about their coordinated deception. Their stress has reached pathological levels as they realize the full scope of supernatural intervention that protected your journey throughout their assault. The universe itself conspired to ensure their downfall while guaranteeing your elevation. Every sacrifice they made to oppose your purpose became an offering to the cosmic forces that protect and elevate chosen ones. From this cosmic drama, the truth emerges clear, not as a victim who survived attacks, but as a victor who was strengthened by opposition. The universe used their malice as a forge to temper your spirit, their lies as contrast to highlight your truth, their isolation tactics as preparation for the independence required to fulfill your cosmic mission. Every moment of their campaign was simultaneously building the foundation for your unprecedented rise to influence and authentic power. Your phone rings with confirmations of opportunities they could never have imagined, connections they could never have facilitated, and possibilities that exist precisely because surviving their crucible forged you into something more powerful than before. Their questions about your character continue echoing through their broken networks as evidence of their conspiracy spreads beyond their ability to contain. The extraordinary chapter that their opposition was designed by the universe to prepare you for has arrived, a chapter where their stress becomes your strength, their exposure becomes your protection, and their complete downfall becomes the foundation for your most magnificent elevation yet.